just read a comment called, well, from everyone. This individual uses the name everyone. Now, I understand where they're coming from, and I do get it. The comment was in reply to Serenity Bay's comment. So perhaps I should go over all of them actually, so probably make more sense. I have died many, many times in many different ways, and I know that there is nothing at all to fear. It is a furthering of an adventure. Yeah, okay, I agree. Reincarnation. If you want to come back and reincarnate into this reality, I would not recommend that. Yet still I have that hesitancy of death. Where do you go when you sleep? Do I worry about how that is going to happen? No, not really. But what brings me to tears is that I will have to leave precious souls behind to finish their journey without me. I know I can watch over them until I see them again. But I think it is the physical pain of parting, and that is the hard bit, the love bit. So I replied to that. Now, some people might think my reply is a bit harsh, a bit flippant. The fear of leaving is an attachment. Attachment. It's the mind. That is what makes you hesitant. Jesus summed it up. Let the dead bury the dead. I will leave at a time and place of my choosing determined by me, and the wise will not miss me one bit, because they know the truth. It is not your mind that determines what is precious and what is not. It is consciousness. Why does Jesus say, "Get away from me, I do not know you"? Meditation breaks the barriers of the physical. Maybe you have work within to do. Jesus also said, "Do not love anything in this world. If you do, then the love of the Father is not in you." Why would he say that? Because that's really quite a cryptic saying as well, because people strain with it. There are many forms of love. In the Greek language, they have different words for love, but they have love for the children, love for the parents, love for the job. They have all these different words meaning the same thing. And what Jesus is talking about is that if you're loving anything in this world, then the love of the Father is not in you. So, and that love is experienced within you. It radiates out from here, and it is really overwhelming. And beyond definition, it makes the normal love that we have look quite pathetic. So when you have that in you and you experience that, that becomes your focal point, as opposed to the shows, the bright lights, the distractions on the world stage. And then of course you'll know that it's there and not out there. So and then everyone wrote, I feel the opposite way. For me, the painful part, the love bit, is always watching them leave me behind. So I reply to this because it's about perspective. And you need to understand that nobody gets left behind. The spirit returns to source, but the mind is not the spirit. It isn't, never will be. And it's when the mind and the spirit merge, that's when the truth is revealed to you. And that's when you realize that your mind is not real, it's a story, a pretender. And in the end, you'll give it up. You'll give it up. And that means that everyone else you know is a pretender as well. It's just a big show. And then you return to source. But those that don't realize that, they don't realize that they were a part of the supreme being, if you want to look at it that way, playing a role. And now it's time to wake up, because the stage, the set is going to be changed. And if you want to go into the new set, the new paradigm, new rules, new everything's new, then you've got to give up the old, and that includes the mind. So how do you do that? Well, that's meditation. And then you can watch the mind, and if you're watching the mind, you're controlling the mind. But if the mind is clinging to things and clinging to relationships, then it's not doing itself any favours at all. Everybody leaves. Nobody gets out of here alive. Nobody. But the spirit does. The spirit is consciousness. It can't be destroyed. It can't be created. It simply is. It's the alpha and the omega. It's the beginning and the end. And then you might say, how can it have a beginning and end? It's talking about you, the individual, your own individual consciousness. When you was, before your mind arrived, your first great love. And that's what everyone's forgotten. They've forgotten their great love. And that's what the ancient texts remind people of, is that they're not who they think they are. They're far greater than that. Even John reflected this on the mountain in Patmos. I must decrease, he must increase. And that's one of the disciples. So it's these realizations, it's this perspective. So when people, as everyone states, leave me behind, that sounds a bit pitiful, because it's like the mind going, I'm all on my own. I quite enjoy solitude. I can sit in a room full of people and be completely alone. I'm not bothered by it. Actually, it's I could sit in a football stadium with 60,000 people and be alone. Alone, all one. Don't look at things like they've left me behind. If people have moved on, if they think you're a weirdo, well, it's back to front, but it's weirdo with a beardo. If they think you're weird, which is a compliment actually, and they walk away from you, well, that's the division, isn't it? Isn't that like kind of sorting out the wheat from the chaff? Until eventually you're on your own. Even the Apostle Paul eventually found himself on his own, and then he had his head cut off. Ego death. But the Apostle Paul never went to heaven, because it's the ego, and the ego can't. Only the spirit can, and that's your consciousness, your awareness. That's the only thing that gets in. The mind doesn't. It's not allowed in there. That's why it's written. Man is enmity towards God. There's the divisions. Man is the ego intellect, and it can't get there, because something that doesn't really exist can't get there. But the spirit can. That's the consciousness. You see? So in this world, everyone's pretending to be Jane Doe or Tommy Atkins, but in reality they are all being powered by the spirit, which is Jesus Christ, Krishna, Buddha, all these ancient names, and they don't realize it. How tragic. Talk about using the name in vain. See, you've got to get beyond these mental attachments, and you do that by knowing yourself. So I'm not being flippant. I get it. I've been through similar things myself, but it's, if you're clinging to things, look at society, look at culture, look at it all. Politics, religion. Look at it. It's a sinking ship. It's going down, and you're clinging to it. And there's other people that cling to it as well, like it's real. Do you want to go down with that, or would you rather observe it and not be affected by it? I know what I'd rather be. Build your own ship. Build your own ark. But that's what Noah's Ark is about. Noah means rest. You know, Noah's Ark is meditation. And you can go in there with everything. You know, you don't have to. You don't have to. The mind doesn't appear to God, the Father. It doesn't, because that's enmity to the Father. He doesn't want to see any of that. But the character called Jesus, which is your own individual consciousness, is already a part of that. It's a small part of the unified field. So when you put the mind behind you, get behind me, Satan, your spirit connects with the unified field. And then the mind becomes informed. Then the mind starts to realize. Then the mind starts to know. And know yourself.